The area forecasts for the next 24 hours. Viking, north at 0, south at 0. Southwesterly, 5 to 7, increasing gale 8 for a time in Viking, veering westerly 4 to 6 later. Rain or showers.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm walking on the rugged Yorkshire coastline, 22 miles from Scarborough Castle, which is behind me, to Whitby Abbey. Cliff tops, hidden bays, historic landmarks, and let's see what else we can find. So this morning I had a silly o'clock start. I wanted to get to Scarborough to watch the sunrise from up by the castle. So in the North Bay, between these lovely, colourful beach huts, next to the beach office, there's these public toilets. Make the most of them. These are the last toilets for about 9-10 miles. Very clean, the showers in there. You can pay for the showers by card. However, to enter, it's 40 pence. So because this is a linear route, transport is a bit of an issue. The original plan for today was that we're going to be walking this route with my friend, leave his car at Whitby, drive down to Scarborough, leave my van at Scarborough, do the walk to Whitby, get in his car and then back to Scarborough. However, childcare issues have reared its ugly head, and basically I'm doing this walk on my own. So when I get to Whitby, I'm going to have to get a bus. I'm looking for the X93 bus. Tonight, there's the yellow wagtail there. So the last bus tonight is 21:46. I've no intentions of getting the last bus, but I am just going to enjoy this walk, take my time, and just make sure I get to Whitby before 21:46. I parked at the railway station at Scarborough. £6.20 for the day. You do have to download an app, and the bus from Whitby takes me straight to the railway station. So I've left as little distance as possible for right at the end of the day. There's a kingfisher sat down on the rocks down there. The first of the many climbs on this walk. So that's the first section done. You can see Scarborough Castle up in the distance where I started. Walked down from the castle, along North Bay, past the Sea Life Centre to Scalby Mills. On the rocks, I've seen cormorant, oyster catcher. There was a red shank, a spotted red shank, a yellow wagtail, but the highlight for me was a kingfisher. So walking past, I heard it call, and then looked down, and sure enough, it was just on the rocks at the bottom of the seawall. So yeah, that's the first section done. Just done the first big climb of the day, out of Scarborough Mills, and now heading north on the coastline. So I've just dropped down out of the wind, and while we've still got Scarborough Castle behind me in the distance on the horizon, I thought I'd talk about that. Obviously a great place to start this walk. What's the history there? I will be coming back to have a good look around it. It's pay to enter. I'm not sure how much, but I will be going back to have a look around it. In the 1920s, they did an archaeological excavation and they found a Bronze Age sword, and it dated it at about 3,000 years old. So there's been a hill fort or some sort of a castle at that location for about 3,000 years. Now the Romans were involved in it, Anglo-Saxon history there. It was involved in the Civil War. We're not sure about the Viking history on it though, but right next to the castle on the Ordnance Survey map is a place called the Holmes. Well, a home is an Old Norse word for small rounded islet. And even further north on this section of walk, I'm passing places that include the words Ness, Scar and Nook. And again, these are Old Norse words. So it is highly likely that the Vikings were in this area. Whether they occupied the castle or not, I don't know. But yeah, keep looking back. That's probably the last of the views backwards. Now I'm going to concentrate on the views forwards and heading north. Just make out Long Nab Bird Observatory over there on the horizon. That little white building on this bit there. So I'll take this opportunity while I'm out of the wind just to talk about the route. Basically, we're calling it the Coastal Challenge. Done it a few times, so there's no real navigation involved. You basically start at Scarborough Castle, head north on the coastline on the Cleveland Way. As long as you keep the sea to your right, you can't really go wrong. Yeah, I've done this a few times with groups. This is the first time I've done it on my own. There's a lot of up and down. There's about 3,000 foot climb. So it's like doing a 22-mile walk with a Munro mountain over 3,000 foot thrown in. There is an alternative route. There's an old disused railway line called the Cinders Track from Scarborough to Whitby. It's probably about a mile shorter, so still 21 miles, and there's not as much up and down. So that's an easier option if you do decide to do the Scarborough to Whitby Coastal Challenge. I think most of the route that we're walking is actually part of the Cleveland Way. It's a 109-mile walk. Yeah, we're just walking a section of it. So I've just come around the corner. There was a female pheasant in the middle of the path. Normally they're quite skittish. They'd have flown long before I got anywhere near it. But this one wasn't that skittish. And I managed to get close enough to see that it's got some blood around its throat and neck. And then it's got some movement down in the cliffs below me. A couple of peregrine falcons. It's got a sneaky feeling that that pheasant's been attacked by one of the peregrines. I knew they were around because I found some raptor confetti about half a mile back. Big pile of feathers. So yeah, 2 peregrine falcons. Really nice to see. And now I wish I'd have brought my camera. So I just hung around for 5 minutes just to see if the peregrine falcons would come back. No further sightings of them. So I sat down on the path right next to me. Lovely little blue flower or purple flower called the harebell. It's Campanula rotundifolia. So rotund, round, ifolia, leaves. So it's got round leaves. It's also known as the Scottish bluebell or the witch's thimble. And in 2002, Plant Life actually named it as the flower of Yorkshire, the county flower of Yorkshire. It's a bit confusing, so I always thought it was the white rose for Yorkshire. And even on the Yorkshire flag, we've got the white rose. So yeah, anyway, the harebell is the county flower of Yorkshire. It's mid-September. I'm probably a little bit too late for all the flowers. The harebell was nice to see, but the birds are certainly making up for it. It's sort of migration season. And when I say thousands and thousands of meadow pipits, which bird is called mipits, heading south, I'm not exaggerating. So there's been a steady flow of them all day, mixed in with swallows, house martins, and I've just seen a couple of swifts heading south as well. Flocks of siskin, goldfinch, linnet, all heading south. Another steep climb up here. I just looked up, I just saw a buzzard flying through the trees. There it is. So this pretty plant on the screen now is Rose Bay willow herb, also known as bombweed or fireweed. During the First World War, it was one of the first plants to colonise, populate the bomb craters. And in North America, the Native Americans actually use it as a timepiece. So once the last flowers have dropped off the top of it, winter is literally a couple of weeks away. So they know that they need to have all the wood chopped and all the meat in the freezer, etc. when the last flowers drop off. Rose Bay willow herb. What a great location for a memorial bench. Stunning views. So of course I've checked the weather, but not just for today. I've checked the weather for the last few days to see what it's been doing. If it's been raining heavily for the last 2 or 3 days, any river crossings, fords are going to be difficult to cross. Today's looking dry, but it has been raining heavily for the last couple of days. So with that in mind, I've brought an extra pair of trail shoes and socks, put them in my rucksack. Because it's a long day, I decided to travel light. It's a completely different setup to if I was leading a group on here. So I've got my waterproofs, got an extra layer, hat, gloves, buff, head torch just in case, and food and drink for the day. So yeah, fingers crossed, less than 20% chance of rain today, so I should stay dry. Four miles to the halfway mark. So I've just got to the top of the steep incline on the other side of Hayburn-Wyke. Obviously you can tell it's heated up. I've lost a layer. I'm sweating my proverbials off. I've had a nightmare. The battery on the Osmo 3 ran out. I've got a battery pack, but the cable's snapped. So I get to Robin Hood's Bay and need to find another cable. So at the moment I'm using my phone rather than Osmo 3. So there might be a change of quality halfway through the video. That explains that. Yeah, so I did think I was quite prepared. A battery pack and a cable. Unfortunately the end of the cable snapped, so I'm yeah, in a bit of a pickle at the moment. But nevertheless, let's carry on to Ravenscar. This is a welcome sight after that big climb. And again, another cracking view. So I'm just approaching Ravenscar, and I can hear grey seals calling down in the water below me. It's about 50 down there. Some are swimming around, some are just bobbing in the water with their heads sticking out of the water. So behind me you've got a rocket post. Somebody would climb up that and fire a rocket out with a line on it to any ships that were wrecked on the rocks out at sea, and then they'd bring them in on a bosun's chair. So a rocket post. There's another one just a bit further north of Robin Hood's Bay. We'll have a look at that when we get there. So there's a sight for sore eyes, Ravenscar Visitor Centre. It's basically the halfway mark. I'll put the what three words on the screen now. And then just up there on the left by that lamppost, some toilets, and I'll put the what three words on that as well. So I've just finished a delicious cake and coffee at Ravenscar Discovery Centre, or Visitor Centre, and I'm heading on to Robin Hood's Bay now. It's 2:10. I need to get to Robin Hood's Bay before the shops shut, so I should be alright for time. But I was half tempted to take the Cinders track back there, but no, I've stuck to the original plan. So I'm heading down the Cleveland Way, down to the Allen Works, and heading on to Robin Hood's Bay. But yeah, if you're doing this walk, Ravenscar Visitor Centre, coffee and cake, it's a must, it's the law. You just make out Robin Hood's Bay in the distance there, all the red brick roofs. If you listen closely, you can hear the grey seals calling down on the beach. So just to give you a bit of an update, the cable for my battery pack to my phone and my camera snapped. I had a spare battery for the camera, ended up using that as well, ended up going to my phone, and then my phone ran out as well, just before I got to Boggle Hole. So I've missed out Boggle Hole, but there's a youth hostel there, it's well worth a visit, there's a cafe bar there, toilets, and that's just before you get to Robin Hood's Bay. So I'm just on the other side of Robin Hood's Bay, a very steep climb up through the village. Managed to find a shop that sold phone cable chargers and or phone cables. So I purchased a cable and managed to get some charge back into the camera. So we're back on track now. The sign back there says 6 miles to Whitby. However, I've got a sneaky feeling it's a little bit more. It's more like 7.5, 8 miles. So I've stopped for a sandwich, I've fueled up on my Bina and ready to push on this next section. So the weather's behaving, the rain has managed to hold off, the sun's back out. I've got enough fluids to keep me going for the next 6, 7, 8 miles, whatever it is. And yeah, we'll see you in a bit. So I'm probably a mile north of Robin Hood's Bay, and I'm bumping into quite a few walkers that are doing the coast to coast. Some of them have got big heavy rucksacks and doing it self-contained, and some have got smaller day packs and they're getting their overnight stuff sherped. But either way, it's a good effort. Some of them have taken 16, 17 days. And of course it goes from St. Bees and finishes at Robin Hood's Bay. And of course Robin Hood's Bay, quite a few shops, opportunity to get something to eat, ice cream, top up with fluids. And then right at the top of the hill on the left there's some public toilets. And again, 20 pence will get you into the toilets. Fish and chips there as well. However, depends on time of day. I've not had any fish and chips because I don't want to be walking on or feeling all bloated. So just over there on that horizon there, that's Raven Scar. That was the halfway mark. The visitor centre, coffee and cake. And that mast right up on the horizon over there, that's the edge of the North Yorkshire Moors National Park. That's the easterly edge of it. And the end location for the Like Wake Walk. It's a 42-mile walk that goes from the west side all the way to the east side. Yeah, so I walked the Like Wake Walk about 5 or 6 years ago. Group of about 6 of us, raising money for Home Valley Mountain Rescue. We raised about 3-4 grand for it. It was a grueler. We started at 6 in the morning and we didn't finish till about 11:30 at night. 42 miles. And every one of us had blisters. You just get to a point where you can't be bothered to stop and deal with the blisters. It's easy just to bear through the pain. But it was an absolute grueler. But well worth it, and glad I did it. Most people do it in 2 or 3 days. Yeah, we did it in a wanna. So the last couple of times I've done this was a notoriously boggy section. It looks like they've put new path down. Been doing a fair bit of work on this section here. So it's just gone 5 o'clock. I've just mapped it on my phone. We've got less than 4 miles to go. So 2 to 2.5 hours till the finish. So yeah, taking it easy today. If I'm with a group, I normally do do this in between 10 and 12 hours, depending on the ability of the group. But today I've been stopping. YouTubing always takes a lot longer, stopping, getting your camera set up, walking back for your camera, etc. So yeah, my feet are okay, my feet are nice and dry, feeling good, the sun is out, and I'm enjoying these views. So after the Whitby Lighthouse, just come over the brow of the hill, and I got the first sighting of Whitby Abbey. From memory, from the first sighting of the Abbey, it basically takes about an hour. So 6:15, so I should be there for 7:15. And luckily for us, right next to the Abbey is a brewery. Do some fantastic beers, but even better, they do some fantastic pizzas as well. Just see it on the edge there. So this is Saltwick Bay. On a low tide, you can normally see a shipwreck down there, and it's a shipwreck of the Admiral von Trump. It sank in 1976. 3 of the crew were rescued, 2 of the crew sadly died, and during an investigation, the weather was found not to be the problem. The crew weren't found to be drunk, and they decided that if the boat had been left alone, it would have stayed roughly on course. Therefore, many believe that this was a deliberate act. So unfortunately today we can't see the remains of the shipwreck, but I've seen it on other walks. It's still a beautiful location. A few people down there with the dogs. It's a great place for looking for fossils. So our route takes us straight through the middle of Saltwick Bay caravan site. So as we're walking towards what's left of Whitby Abbey, we might as well talk about it. So Whitby Abbey started its life in the 7th century as a monastery. It was then ransacked by the Vikings a few times, and then eventually demolished by King Henry VIII. And then during the First World War, just to rub salt in the wound, a couple of German battleships out there in the North Sea actually bombed it as well. Last few steps. Whitby Abbey. 22 miles walk, couple of miles at the start, probably an extra mile over the back and forwards, another half a mile to go down to the station. Let's call it 25.5 miles. Cheers. So that's me back at the van. It's been a long day. Set off at silly o'clock this morning, got to Scarborough, up to the castle, watched the sunrise, and then basically a 12-hour walk up to Whitby. Managed to get the bus and finally got back to my van. If you fancy doing this walk, there's a detailed description on the website www.bootroutes.com. Go to the routes section and it's the coastal challenge. And if you've made it all the way to the end, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, that's me signing off.